Thank you so much for being here today. For those of you who don't know me or Devin, my name is Whitney Ziegler, and my company is called Big Rocks Organizing. I'm a professional organizer and a right-sizing coach, and I'm very lucky to be able to also introduce Devin Lee, our special guest today. Devin is a Big Rocks team member, and she also has her own business. She's an office business manager. She is also our business manager for Big Rocks, and we wouldn't be running without her. She is our wizard behind the scenes, and she makes everything magical happen. Devin, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us about yourself before I start peppering you with questions?
No, that's fine. Well, I'd like to say, the way I met Whitney is I also, for a while, was a professional organizer. So she and I kind of share that passion and interest. And yeah, I'm really happy and excited for today. Thanks for having this happen, Whitney.
Well, thank you for inviting us into your lives and literally into your home today.
Yeah, for sure.
For those who are just joining us this week, this is our fourth week of a series that we've been doing on downsizing. It's called Wine and Wisdom with Whitney on Wednesdays. A lot of alliteration there. And so today we're talking about what it's like to be on the other side of your right-sizing journey. And Devin just moved into her tiny house this past weekend. And so we're so excited to learn about your journey, Dev, and then to have a tour of your tiny house and get to ask you all kinds of questions.
Sounds fun to me.
So our first question for you today, and I'm still admitting people here as I'm asking you questions. Our first question is, can you please tell us about your right-sizing journey? My understanding is that it began about 7 years ago. What was the catalyst?
Yeah, so I think it really began when I first moved from Florida to Denver. I just was moving everything in my car, and the process of having to get rid of everything so it fit in my car was really stressful for me. I was like 23 years old, and I really hated it. And I, at that moment, realized that I never wanted to have to do that ever again. And since then, I think I've moved so many times. Since moving to Portland, I've moved, I think, 7 times. One time I moved 3 times in 1 year. And yeah, when I got to Denver, I discovered the concept of minimalism, and it just seemed like, what if I only kept exactly the things I needed, that I wouldn't have this stress of every time I moved, I wanted to be agile. Like I just wanted to be able to pick up and move whenever I wanted. And I think my motivation for most things in my life is I need to feel like I'm free at any moment. And so I always want to be able to just move without having to worry about where all my stuff is going.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. And I know you and I have talked a little bit about the Enneagram and what your values are and what motivates you. So that value of freedom, I think definitely is one of your core values, your big rocks.
Mm-hmm.
So this is exciting that this is embodying, your tiny house is embodying that value.
Definitely.
That brings me to my next question, which is kind of a loaded term, the word minimalism.
Yeah.
What does minimalism mean to you?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are turned off by the word minimalism because it evokes this vision of like empty walls and everything's black and white and there's just no stuff. And even though I like that aesthetic, I kind of see it more as essentialism. Like I'm only keeping what's just essential to me. And for me, it saves me money, saves me headache. And it also, I feel like it's environmentally friendly. Like every time I go to purchase something, I really, really think about if I need it first or not. And I feel that way about everything in my life. Like I only want to keep values in my life that are essential. I only want to spend my time doing things that feel essential. And so I think you can be a minimalist and have lots of stuff if all that stuff is essential to things that are important to you and to your happiness.
Thank you. I think that really breaks it down and makes it accessible.
Mm-hmm.
I think I agree with you. It seems like a lot of people are turned off by that word, but when you think of it in terms of essentialism, that really flips it for me.
Yeah, which is why I love how you talk about right sizing as opposed to downsizing a lot. Like we're just finding things that fit our particular lifestyle.
Right. Our next question is, what was the hardest part of the right sizing process for you?
Um, I think, I think ultimately it feels easy to me because getting rid of certain things can it can feel hard, but my need to have like freedom and autonomy is so much more powerful. It like motivates me to constantly cull all my items. But I'm thinking of most recently, and we talked about this last week. Like most recently, I got rid of most of I think like 90% of my art supplies. I had narrowed them down to like just a crate of all my paints. And because I was an artist growing up, I went to art school for like 8 years straight. And so it was hard for me to come to terms with, I haven't painted in probably 5 years. And I'm just carrying the stuff around out of guilt of who I used to be. And so it made more sense for me to give those items away to someone who would actually use them as opposed to keeping them. And it felt good to finally do that, and also to find security within myself. Like if I wanted to paint again, like I can just go buy more paints. Like I can do that for myself. And so I think sometimes those are the types of roadblocks I hit of, well, this is the person I used to be or the person I want to be. But ultimately, I'm okay with being a little bit sad sometimes and uncomfortable when I get rid of things, because I know it leads to this bigger goal of this type of life that I want to have for myself. And I also know I can get more things anytime I want. Like I can buy them. I have money and I have resources. Like I can do these things.
Sometimes that's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any regrets? Is there anything that you let go of that you wish you hadn't have? And how do you deal with that regret?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a few times a year where I think about like, oh, that dress that I used to have, like that would fit me again now. Or I really love that top. Why'd I get rid? It's usually clothes related. Because as soon as I feel like something is not essential to my life, I get rid of it before I can think about it. So sometimes I get rid of things a little too soon. Like that's definitely happened. And then I kind of just accept like, oh, I regret getting rid of that, but now I know that that's something that I want if I come across it again. And also I just kind of acknowledge like, it's a little sad to get rid of that thing. But ultimately I have everything I need. Like it's okay. And then I usually forget about it almost immediately.
Oh, that's a good skill to have.
Mhm.
So on the flip side, what opportunities has right sizing and moving into a tiny house opened up for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot about moving when I move, working with you, Whitney. I've seen what can go into moving a whole entire house. Like you have to hire lots of people. It takes a lot of time. It can be really stressful to move. But when I move, which I have done often in my 20s, because I'm always looking for different opportunities or different rent prices. It takes me a few hours to pack and then a few hours to unpack. And so it's really easy. And this tiny house, I think, is the best opportunity that's come along. When I saw this tiny house, I couldn't believe that it was available for rent at the price it was. And when I asked the property manager, like, what's the catch? She basically was like, a lot of people like the idea of living in a tiny house, but then they realize there's no storage. So they kind of back out. And so I feel like this is the grand opportunity I've been waiting for. Like, this is why I don't have any stuff, because I wanted this really specific lifestyle, living like really minimally.
Do you feel that by letting go of your stuff, it opened things up for this opportunity to come to you?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's kind of me showing the universe that I'm ready to live in a tiny house. And in addition, like, I feel like it just makes life easier. Like, I know exactly what I own. I'm never missing things. I don't ever buy doubles of things. I rarely lose things, and it's really easy to tidy and it's really easy to clean. So I just feel like it makes life so much simpler to have as few items as possible. And that really makes me feel really happy and peaceful.
Well, that's wonderful. We're so excited for you. And benefits of minimalism or essentialism sound wonderful, and like things that we can all take and apply to our own lives as we feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you feel comfortable giving us a tour of your new tiny home right now?
I would love to. I have to sign in on my phone, so I'm going to sign out of here, and I'll be back hopefully really soon.
Okay. And for those who are here, if you have questions for Devin, if you could go ahead and put them in the chat. I have a few more questions that she and I have prepared in advance, but if you wanted to go ahead and send them, you can either send them to me privately or you can just put them in the general group chat. Devin, we have a question about sentimental items, and I might send this person the recording from one of our earlier sessions where we talked about that. Last week, we talked about emotional roadblocks to right sizing.
Right.
Yeah. And then, sorry, we have one more question about a minimalist lifestyle. What are the financial benefits?
Oh my gosh. So many. Well, because obviously, I'm not buying anything extra. It's really easy not only to save money when you're only buying what you need, but it's also really easy to keep track of what you're buying, because there's only a few purchases. And I've really gotten to the habit before I buy something, like, do I really, really, really need this? So it's a lot easier to stay on a budget when you're not buying a bunch of things. And in addition, I think there's like this hidden value of, like if you buy something, you think you're buying just that one thing, but then, you need to buy the battery for it. And then, you need this other piece for it. And I think that there's additional costs to things that we don't always recognize, like especially with electronics. So I feel like there's that aspect to it. And then again, I don't need a lot of space, so I don't need to pay a lot of rent. I can live more minimally. So those are two big ones I can think of right now.
Wonderful. Thank you. So we would love to know more about, as you're giving us the tour, more about your organizational systems that you've set up for yourself, how your appliances work. Are they standard size? Are they marine or RV appliances? And then can you tell us about some of the zero or low waste products that you use?
Yes, I have a few of those. So yeah, can we switch places? I'll start at the front door. So this is the front entrance. Because this is meant to be an Airbnb, there's actually two TVs, which I think is funny. I've never had a TV before, so that's been kind of fun. Obviously I have a laptop, but so just here, some of my favorite organizing products is I always have like some sort of container by the door to put glasses in, and then you'll see I'm a big fan of command hooks. I like to stick them anywhere I can, and they don't damage the wall. I love these things because you can just throw them anywhere. They're meant for kitchens, but I use them for everything. And there's floating shelves in this tiny house, which I love floating shelves because I think they look really cool, and then it gives you so much more storage. And I've been putting command hooks on the ceiling to hang my plants, so I might have them grow long and put them all over the ceiling. And so when I'm not working, this table folds up and goes over here really nicely. And also, I forgot to mention, this is a cord keeper. So inside is like a mess of cords, but now it just looks beautiful. And there's also a bunch of storage underneath the couch. So already there's a ton of storage in the tiny house. This is my kitchen. Yeah, I love just putting bins everywhere. More of these guys. Something I really like to do in kitchens is I have these big, long, like wooden things. My dream is if I ever own a house, I will immediately install pull-out drawers, but because I'm a renter, I always just put things in bins, and then it's kind of like a makeshift drawer. So I always think that's fun. I'm also a big fan of having no appliances on the counter. So if I need a toaster, my Vitamix, I'll just grab it from here. The tiny house did not come with a dish rack. It came with just this. So I've been using, I think this is just a paper organizer, but I've been using that as my drying rack. That's been working pretty well. I'm a big fan of Lazy Susans. This is actually a 2-tiered Lazy Susan, but I took it apart because the shelves are so short. Mm-hmm. And then this is, I have more pantry items below, but I took just the jars out to display because I think they're more beautiful. So this is more like beauty over aesthetic. And part of my low waste journey is trying to go to the bulk store and buying things in bulk as well, which is harder to do right now. I feel less safe about doing that right now, but normally I would try and buy everything in bulk. And I also like to use like kind of low waste cleaning products. Like this is an amber bottle with just vinegar and water with some essential oils. So I don't ever buy cleaning products. It's really easy. It's my teeny tiny stove, my teeny tiny fridge. I just use a chalk marker to write my grocery list on it so I don't have to use any paper. And then I'll just take a picture of that before I go to the grocery store.
And then how do you wipe that off, Deb?
I just clean it off with spray or water and it just wipes right off like a chalkboard. Pretty cool. Yeah, there's even like a giant microwave in here, which is cool. There's also this big shelf up here that I could use for storage. For now, it just has plants and some records on it. But it's nice to know that I could put more storage up there too if I needed it. This is my bathroom / also my teeny tiny closet. I actually was worried I would not fit all my clothes in. I'm bad at being a clothes minimalist, but I did enough to fit into here. And I just use like bins for like socks and underwear. All my bathing suits fit into this little pouch. When I'll just take them out.
That's very cute. You could just pick that up, put it in your purse, and go to the beach.
Exactly. Another one of my favorite things. So my mom, who's on this call, she does Birchbox, which is like little makeup samples they send you every month. And then for Christmas, I always ask for her to give me the boxes because they're perfect for organizing. They like fit in any drawer. So I just use this one for my belts.
Nice. Plus, it's environmentally friendly to reuse the boxes.
Exactly. And here's like yet another command hook. I'll put them everywhere. And then over here, I actually put more like shorts and leggings go in here. So I don't have a dresser, but I kind of can hide away these things out of sight. And then these are all of like my medicine and my face products. These are all of my hair products. This is my extra towel. And this is my teeny tiny washer dryer. It's like European, I guess. I've never seen one in the States before. To dry my clothes, I have to run it for like 3 hours, but I like to hang dry my clothes anyways because that again is better for my clothes and it's better for the environment. So it actually works out well, and I'm really grateful to have a washer in my tiny house. I was not expecting that.
So, Deb, where do you hang your clothes to dry?
Ooh, I have a rack, which I'll show you later in the tour. I am hanging my jewelry just off the side of the shower. This actually I really love about the tiny house. I've never seen this before either. Inside the medicine cabinet is more mirrors. So as I'm doing my makeup, I can still look in the mirror. This is all the makeup I own. I try and not use too many beauty products also. This is a new kind of toothpaste I'm trying out where it's just like this charcoal powder, which I think might be a more environmentally friendly option. I'm still learning about it.
Yeah, keep us posted on that.
Yeah, I'll let you know. It's kind of weird. Yeah, and like I still even have more room underneath if I needed it. I like using magazine holders to store lots of different things. And my toilet is like a low flush toilet, so that's pretty exciting for me.
So is it connected to the city sewer and water, or is it a composting toilet?
It's definitely not a composting toilet, so it's connected to the city sewer. Grant's nodding his head yes, so yeah, that sounds right. And then another interesting part about this tiny house, because it was supposed to be an Airbnb, is there's actually 2 loft beds. So this loft bed is just for sleeping. I've always wanted to set a really firm boundary with my sleep where I don't watch TV up there, I don't even read up there, and now I finally feel like I can really do that because my other loft bed has, I don't know if you can see, the other loft bed has a TV. And so this is kind of like my recreational loft bed, like if I'm feeling really lazy or if I'm sick. And this is also, let me see if I can grab it. This is also a space for more storage because I don't ever use this area. This is where I hang I don't know what this is called. It's where I hang my laundry to dry. And I just take it out. I'll put it outside if it's sunny. But I also saw on the internet like a clothing line where you can stick it to the wall and then pull out the line just when you're drying your clothes. So that's definitely something I'm going to look into.
Nice. They make those for camping too.
Oh, really? Okay, that's cool. Yeah, and so that's the whole thing. There's even more. Oh, what else did I miss?
Outside.
Oh yeah, do you want to see outside?
I could just pan through the window.
We want to see everything.
So yeah, I have my own yard. It's all fenced in. I have a fire pit. I put a table out there. I need to get some chairs, potentially some gardening if I make the time. Yeah, that's my whole tiny house.
Wow, thank you for the tour.
Thanks for coming with me. How about I sign back on and I can talk to you guys regular again?
Either way, we do have some questions and we might need to go back and physically see something as you're talking about it. So if we could stay like this for now, is that comfortable for you? And
sure.
Grant? Okay.
If Grant's okay with it. He says yes.
Thank you, Grant.
How long have you lived there?
Not even a week yet.
Oh.
It'll be a week
okay.
on Friday.
Yeah. And we have a question from Bill. He's asking, how many square feet is your tiny home?
250.
Okay. Do you have any sections? It doesn't appear so because you completed the tour, but do you have any sections that fold up or down for accessibility?
Mm-hmm. No, but I would like to find ways to do that in the future.
And if you're comfortable answering this question, how much is the rent?
It's $1,000 a month.
Is it in a park?
No, it's in someone's backyard.
All right. Question, where did you get those wooden bins that are in your kitchen cupboard?
That's a good question. I have no idea. What? I don't know where I got them. I've had them for years, but Grant is motioning that he can make them because he's a woodworker if anyone wants them. I think they were like left at a house I lived in several years ago, and I've just moved them from every other house I've ever lived in, and they're super useful to have.
Nice. Bill has a comment. He thinks that you have his Bob's Red Mill flour that he can't find, that you're hoarding it.
I might. I have a lot of flour. You can borrow some, Bill.
Larry has a comment about your washing machine. He says this kind of washer is standard for Korea.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
I've seen them on British TV too.
Yeah, it makes me feel very international to have a washer dryer combo.
Another question, do you have any books, stationery or note cards, or any memorabilia?
Yeah, I have books up here. So this is mostly reading books, but also I have some journals too. And then here in this area are, this is my bullet journal, 2 books I'm reading, and then this is my just writing journal that I'm using so I can easily access them. And then any mail I get, I put in here too, but I don't like to keep mail.
I know when I first met you, you told me you were paperless, and it blew me away because I didn't know anybody who was paperless.
Yeah, I hate paper. I try and keep the important things like my social security card, and I think my mom has my birth certificate. She can answer that, but I don't, yeah, otherwise I don't have any.
Wow.
Do you have a file that you keep things in? Space
No,
for a file?
I have an app on my phone. It's Evernote scanner, and if I do need to keep a document, I'll scan it in and then I file it on my computer.
We have a question. What's the hot water furnace setup? Is it tankless?
I think so.
Grant says he thinks so. I have no idea.
Have you encountered any challenges? Can you, for example, I know you're pretty tall. Can you tell us how tall you are?
I'm 5'10.25".
So moving around though, it looks like you don't have any issues with bumping into things with your height. Are there any other challenges you've encountered?
I will say, I think maybe a normal heighted person would have this issue, but when I'm in the loft beds, I can't sit up. So I do bang my head a lot, but luckily that is even more encouragement for me to not just hang out in bed unless I'm sleeping. When I'm doing yoga, I do hit the ceiling, but because as long as I just don't stand right here, the ceilings are so high that works out pretty well. And actually, I love being tall in this tiny house because, say I want a glass of water next to my bed, I can just kind of, I can just do this, and then I have next to my bed, and then that's how I kind of move things around. So it actually works really well being tall in a tiny house.
Nice. Do you feel safe in a tiny house is one question that we got.
Yes. I mean, I have 2 locks, so like the structure feels pretty safe. But in addition, I live in a really nice neighborhood. I feel super safe here. I always feel safe in Portland, but this neighborhood feels extra safe. So I feel really grateful that I can live in what feels like a really safe neighborhood.
We've got some more technical questions for you about, have you had any issues with the hot water?
There have been times where the water oscillates between hot and cold, but I can't tell if that's because if it's just like me not being patient, like me turning it really hot and then it being too hot and then me turning it all the way cold, or if it's with the hot water heater. But I haven't been here long enough, I guess, to determine what the issue is, but that's only happened once or twice. Normally, everything has been totally fine.
That's great. We also have an inquiry about the brand name of your washer dryer combo. Can you share that with us?
Let's look. Edge Star.
It should be a Samsung. The Edge Star? That's
Edge
interesting.
Star.
Okay, so is that made by Samsung, Larry?
Well, Samsung I know makes one because I wanted to buy one of them a couple years ago.
We have another question for you, Deb. Do you cook at home a lot or eat out for most of your meals?
I've always tried to cook at home because it's healthier and it's cheaper. And now with the current circumstances, I've rediscovered my love of cooking. So yeah, I like to cook home. What I've been doing a lot lately is cooking things that I can freeze. So it's always ready available. Yeah, I love cooking.
How often do you have to go shopping, or do you feel like you have enough storage space there for food that you buy for 2 weeks?
Well, when I first moved in, like my first day or second day, I went to Natural Grocers and spent a couple $100 stocking up for like a month. And I feel like I have plenty of storage because I store a lot of things down here. And then I have all of these things up here. And then I also have this area for canned goods.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really good at cooking things. So yeah, I feel like I don't have to go to the grocery store for at least a few weeks now, if not a month, if my plans work out.
Nice. A question, and this is personal, so you can answer this or not as you feel comfortable. Do you live by yourself?
Yes, but my boyfriend lives like a 5-minute walk, so he comes over a lot.
And you obviously have a guest room, so in the future you could.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have some friends come visit and stay in my guest room.
Nice. Another question is, can you tell us, do you know the details on the zoning or the permitting for your house? Like who built it?
No, it's an ADU. Grant, do you know anything?
I don't know anything.
We have no idea.
Is it on wheels or is it on a foundation?
Don't know. Do you know, Grant? We don't know. That's a good question.
Pretty sure it's on at least a trailer. It may or may not have wheels.
Oh,
on it.
look.
And I know that Oregon has a new law that you can actually have ADUs, additional living places, if you're within, I think it's like 10,000. The population is over 10,000. You can actually, anyone can have these on your property now, and they're very expensive.
Well, there are lots of ADUs in this neighborhood. We've noticed.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very common.
For those who don't know, Teresa is a real estate broker, so she's very knowledgeable.
Ooh.
Thank you for sharing that.
The ADU permitting, I don't have an ADU, but I have a studio in my backyard, and so it ended up qualifying as an ADU because I have a heater installed in the wall. And even though it's only, it's much smaller, obviously, than a tiny house. It's 12 by 12, which is, I guess it's not that different. But because I put the heater into the wall, it qualified as an ADU, and but I'm not plumbed. But if I had wanted to have it plumbed, attached to city water, which it sounds like hers is, it is really, really pricey to put that into your space. But I guess it's still cheaper than a house. I mean, if you had property and wanted to own that, and put that on your property instead of a regular size house, it's still going to be cheaper, I guess, than a house. And I think I've seen those combo washer dryer things at, or at least they have them on the websites for Standard Appliance. And what's the other one that starts with a B, the Bosco Appliance? I think they offer them, even if they don't have them in the showroom. I think you can buy through them. I've seen them when I was shopping for my stuff.
Nice. Thanks for sharing, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
So, Deb, do you know how old your tiny house is?
From what I have gathered, they bought like the skeleton of this tiny house like 3 or 4 years ago, and then completely remodeled the inside. So I think the bones are older, but the inside is only a few years old.
Nice. Well, those are all the prepared questions that I had for you. Oh, one more question. What's on your fridge?
Ooh, like what's written? Oh, I can just show you. These are the things this is a magnet one of my best friends gave me. Her name is Tara. These are things I want to cook this week. Things I still need for the house. If anyone has any outside chairs they don't want, I will come pick them up from you.
We might have some at my house, so don't buy anything.
Ooh, yes, thanks, Whitney. You know, a coupon for Taco Peddler we got the other day. And then this is my grocery list. So the next time I go to the grocery store, I can buy all these things.
Nice. And what kind of animal is that in the thing that your friend gave to you?
Oh my gosh, good question.
It's a seal.
Seal?
Okay.
It's not an
Now I
otter.
can tell Grant has zoomed in. Thank you. Got one question that looks like a partial question. Sorry, I can't make it out.
What do you use to write on the refrigerator?
I have a chalk marker.
It's just chalk? Okay.
It's a chalk marker, yeah. You can get them like at the art store, I'm sure anywhere online.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I came in a little bit late. What neighborhood is the tiny house in?
I'm in Boise neighborhood in North Portland.
So if you were to add another person living there, do you think you would stay long term?
Oh, say that again?
If there was another person living there with you, do you think you would stay there long term, or do you think it might be just a little too small for two?
I think it depends on the person who is wanting to live with me. I don't know. I think this tiny house is the perfect size for me. I don't know how it would work with another person's clothes in it. It'd probably be hard.
Is there any kind of outdoor storage like in the walls on the outside or underneath the tiny house?
No, Grant had the idea of there's like a space where I could possibly put some, I don't know how to describe what we were thinking of, putting some wood between the tiny house and the fence to put my bike under. Because right now my plan is just to put tarp over my bikes for when it rains. But otherwise, I do have like 1 or 2 storage bins of like winter clothes that Grant has let me keep in his basement. So I am a little cheating there. But otherwise, yeah, there's not really too much storage unless I build some, which I might do.
And are you using your car for storage at all?
Yes, all my organizing supplies are in the trunk of my car.
Or family.
Or family. My mom does have some of my stuff, but I asked her to get rid of it and she won't.
Were we talking in one of the other sessions about the other way around?
Yeah.
With the family stuff.
We were, does mom want to defend herself on this one?
I am not going to ever get rid of her American Girl doll. And all her childhood books. I know. Someday when I die, she's going to throw them out. I mean, everything I'm saving, she's going to throw out. So pretty sad for me, pretty sad. And it's funny because she just moved into a tiny house, and Monday I'm moving into a bigger house. So, yeah.
It's very interesting how that works out.
Yeah. We're twinsies.
Any last minute questions, folks? Well, Deb, I really appreciate you sharing your journey with us and inviting us into your home and letting us ask you all sorts of personal questions.
I'm so excited that other people are excited about this. Thank you for coming over to my house.
It's very
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Oh, anytime. You are all invited over anytime once it's safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Devin. Awesome job.